Welcome back to the channel Valuable Coins HD, where we uncover the hidden treasures of the numismatic world. Today, we've got something that might just be sitting in your collection or even your spare change jar right now, a coin that could be worth a small fortune. That's right, we're diving into the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that carries not only historical significance but also a potentially huge payout. Stick with us as we explore why this 1944 wheat penny is so valuable, and how you might be holding onto something worth a lot more than just 1 cent. The Lincoln wheat penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. These pennies are a staple of American coinage, and they remained in circulation until 1958 when they were replaced by the Lincoln Memorial Penny. The 1944 Lincoln wheat penny stands out for several reasons, particularly because of the time in which it was minted. By 1944, the United States was in the thick of World War II, and this had a significant impact on the production of coins. During the war, there was a major shortage of metals, and the U.S. Mint was forced to adjust the materials used for coin production. Normally, pennies were made of copper, but in 1943, the Mint began producing pennies using steel due to the war effort. However, in 1944, the U.S. Mint returned to using copper for the pennies, but it wasn't just any copper. In 1944, the pennies were made using copper leftover from artillery shell casings, making these coins a unique piece of history. This shift in materials and the context in which the coins were produced gives the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny a distinct place in American numismatic history. You can see the familiar design on the obverse, a profile of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. On the reverse, you'll find 2 stalks of wheat framing the words E pluribus unum and 1 cent. This wheat design was used on the reverse side of the Lincoln penny from 1909 to 1958, and it is beloved by collectors for its timeless representation of American heritage. So, what makes the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny so valuable? Well, first and foremost, its rarity. While millions of these pennies were minted in 1944, finding one in exceptional condition is a real challenge. Over the years, many of these pennies were heavily circulated and endured the wear and tear of daily transactions. However, those that have been preserved in mint or near mint condition are incredibly valuable today. What really drives the value of a 1944 Lincoln wheat penny is its condition and rarity. The term used to describe the condition of coins is called grading, essentially how well the coin has been preserved. Coins are graded on a scale from poor, P1, to perfect, MS, 70, and those at the higher end of this scale are worth significantly more. For example, a 1944 Lincoln wheat penny in mint state, MS, 65, or higher condition could fetch a significant amount. The higher the grade, the more the coin is worth, especially if it's well preserved with little to no visible wear. You can spot a coin in good condition by looking for clear details on Lincoln's profile, sharp edges, and a full wheat design on the reverse. Coins that have been well stored and kept away from harsh elements like moisture, dirt, or scratches are much more likely to reach higher grades, but, of course, there's more to the value of the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny than just its condition. Some of these pennies have even rare minting errors that make them even more sought after. One of the most well-known variations of the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny is the 1944 steel penny, which was mistakenly struck with the steel planchets that were supposed to be used for the 1943 pennies. This rare error is highly prized by collectors, as only a few are believed to exist. If you come across a 1944 steel penny, it could be worth a fortune. These coins have been known to sell for tens of thousands of dollars at auctions, with some going for more depending on the coin's condition. Now, let's talk about the value of a 1944 Lincoln wheat penny. If you happen to find one in circulated condition with some wear, it's worth a bit more than its face value, but it's really the high-grade specimens that make collectors' hearts race. A well-preserved 1944 Lincoln wheat penny in mint state, MS, 65 or higher, can easily fetch hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars. However, if you are lucky enough to have a rare version of the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny, especially one with a minting error like the 1944 steel penny, you're in for a real treat. It's been reported that a 1944 Lincoln wheat penny with a minting error or one in uncirculated condition can fetch anywhere from a few $1,000s to a staggering $54,000. That's right, $54,000 for a single penny. In summary, the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny is a coin that holds incredible value, both historically and financially. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just someone who enjoys searching through old pennies, it's definitely worth keeping an eye out for this one. Its rich history, combined with its potential rarity and unique features, make it a prized possession for any collector. So, next time you go through your change jar or take a closer look at your coin collection, you just might be holding onto a penny worth $54,000. Today's video is for you. We're diving deep into a coin that might just be sitting in your collection right now, waiting to be discovered. Yes, we're talking about the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny, a coin with a rich history, distinct features, and, believe it or not, a potential value that might surprise you. Stick with us as we reveal why this penny could be worth thousands of dollars, and exactly how much it's worth in the current market. The Lincoln wheat penny, which first made its appearance in 1909, has always been one of the most beloved coins in American numismatics. But today, we're focusing on the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny, a coin that is often overlooked by casual collectors but is actually a highly sought-after gem for those in the know. So why is the 1945 penny so special, and what makes it stand out in the world of coin collecting? To understand the value of the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny, we have to take a step back in time. The 1940s were a significant period in American history. The world was still recovering from the impact of World War II, and the U.S. Mint was dealing with an array of challenges. For the first time in many years, the U.S. government had to alter its coin production methods to adjust for the national wartime needs. This included modifying the metals used to make the coins, which, as you can imagine, added a layer of complexity to minting and increased the potential for rare variations and errors. The 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is made primarily of copper, just like its predecessors. However, what makes the 1945 penny stand out is that it was produced during a period when the U.S. Mint was still dealing with the effects of the war. The Mint had shifted back to using copper after the wartime steel pennies of 1943, and the 1945 penny is seen by many collectors as the end of an era of experimentation in coin production. Now, let's talk about the design of the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny. On the obverse side, you'll find the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, facing right. This portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner, has become one of the most recognizable coin designs in the world. The reverse side of the coin features two stalks of wheat, symbolizing the nation's agricultural roots, along with the inscription E pluribus unum, out of many, one, and 1 cent. While the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is known for its classic and simple design, what truly sets it apart in the world of numismatics is its rarity and condition. You might be thinking, a penny? Isn't it just worth 1 cent? Well, here's the twist. When a coin like the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is in exceptional condition or has a rare minting error, its value skyrockets. The condition of a coin is one of the most important factors in determining its value. The U.S. Mint struck billions of pennies in the 1940s, and most of them were circulated widely in everyday transactions. Over time, these pennies suffered from wear and tear, making them less valuable. However, if you're lucky enough to find a 1945 penny that has been well preserved and stored properly, it can be worth a lot more than you might think. Coins are graded on a scale, ranging from poor, P1, to mint state, MS 70. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin is. A 1945 Lincoln wheat penny that is graded in MS 65 or higher can command a price far beyond its face value. If you have a 1945 penny that's in mint state, with sharp details, little to no wear, and brilliant luster, you're looking at a valuable piece of numismatic history. But the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny's value doesn't just come from its general condition. There are also rarities and minting errors to consider. Some 1945 pennies were struck with minor flaws, such as double dies, misplaced mint marks, or other imperfections that make them more collectible and desirable to serious collectors. These errors are rare, and if you happen to find one of these unique pieces, the value can be significantly higher. Some error coins can even go for tens of thousands of dollars depending on the severity of the mistake and the condition of the coin, but the most amazing thing about the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is that, even in good condition, it has a value that far exceeds its face value. For a well-preserved, uncirculated 1945 penny, you could be looking at a price tag of anywhere between several $100s to several thousand depending on the coin's specific condition and the market demand. However, the truly rare specimens, those that are in mint condition or have significant minting errors, can be worth even more. So, if you've been wondering just how much a 1945 Lincoln wheat penny could be worth, here's the big reveal: a high-grade 1945 Lincoln wheat penny could fetch as much as $53,000. Yes, you heard that right. A coin that was once worth just 1 cent could now be worth an astonishing $53,000 if it's in the right condition or has the right minting error. Now, I know what you're thinking: how can a simple penny be worth so much? Well, the answer lies in the rarity, condition, and historical significance of the coin. The 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is a perfect example of how a seemingly humble coin can turn into a prized treasure over time. If you come across one of these pennies in your collection, or even in your spare change, don't be so quick to dismiss it. It could be a hidden gem waiting to be discovered. In conclusion, the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is not just a piece of currency, it's a piece of American history, and for collectors, it's a valuable treasure. Whether you're an avid numismatist or just someone who enjoys searching through old coins, the 1945 penny is definitely worth a second look. So, next time you come across a penny in your collection, take a moment to examine it closely. You just might be holding onto a coin worth $53,000. Today, we're diving into one of the most iconic coins in American numismatics, the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny. This coin is not only an essential part of U.S. history, but it also has a fascinating story to tell, one that includes a surprising twist. You might be wondering, what makes the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny so special? Well, stick around, because we're about to reveal some remarkable details that could make this seemingly ordinary penny worth thousands of dollars. The Lincoln wheat penny, first introduced in 1909, is a coin that's near and dear to the hearts of many collectors. Featuring the timeless image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse, it's an emblem of American history. While the design remained mostly unchanged throughout the years, there were subtle differences in the minting process, especially during certain years, that would eventually influence the value of these pennies. One of those key years is 1950. So why is the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny so highly sought after by collectors? The answer lies in both its rarity and the unique features that make it stand out from other pennies produced in that decade. If you've ever searched through your spare change and found a 1950 penny, you might want to take a closer look before simply tossing it into your jar. There's a good chance that this penny could be more valuable than you think. Let's start by taking a look at the general characteristics of the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny. Like all pennies of this era, it features the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse of the coin showcases 2 stalks of wheat, framing the words, E pluribus unum, and 1 cent. But beyond the classic design, there's more to the story of the 1950 penny than meets the eye. In 1950, the U.S. Mint was operating under relatively standard conditions. The coin was struck in copper, a material that was still used for pennies up until the early 1980s. However, the post-World War II era was one of economic recovery, and this led to several subtle changes in the way coins were produced, which ultimately contributed to the rarity of certain coins. When it comes to the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny, there are 2 significant factors that make this year particularly noteworthy for collectors: mintage numbers and unusual production variations. During 1950, the U.S. Mint produced a substantial number of Lincoln wheat pennies, but the 1950 pennies that are most sought after are the 1950D and 1950S varieties. These coins were struck at the Denver and San Francisco mints, and they are the ones collectors are most interested in. The key to understanding the value of a 1950 Lincoln wheat penny lies in the mintage figures for each of these varieties. When the 1950 penny was produced, it was a time when the mint was cranking out coins at high volume, and many of the coins that were produced were put into circulation right away. However, some of these pennies were struck with minting errors or struck in better-than-average condition, making them stand out. One of the most significant things to keep in mind when evaluating the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny is that the condition of the coin plays a huge role in determining its value. Most of the 1950 pennies you'll come across in circulation will show signs of wear. But if you happen to find a 1950 penny in excellent condition, with sharp details and minimal wear, you're in luck. It could be worth a lot more than you might expect. When it comes to high-grade 1950 pennies, the value can climb significantly. A well-preserved, uncirculated 1950 penny could be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars depending on the grade. The graded condition of the coin is often evaluated on a scale from poor, P1, to mint state, MS 70. If you find a 1950 Lincoln wheat penny that falls into the MS 65 or higher range, it can fetch a much higher price. Coins that are in mint state, meaning they show no wear, have good luster, and have sharp, well-defined features, are always more desirable and therefore more valuable. But it doesn't stop there. Error coins also play a huge role in the value of the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny. Errors, like double dies or misplaced mint marks, can significantly increase the price of a coin. If your 1950 penny has any unusual or noticeable errors, then it could be a rare find that makes your coin worth even more. Now, you might be wondering, just how much can a 1950 Lincoln wheat penny really be worth? Well, depending on the condition and the rarity of the specific penny, the value can vary significantly. But let's get to the part that you're really waiting for, the value of a high-grade, error-free, or exceptionally well-preserved 1950 Lincoln wheat penny. If you happen to own one of these rare and valuable coins, it could fetch a price as high as $48,500. Yes, that's right, $48,500 for a single 1950 Lincoln wheat penny in excellent condition or with a rare minting error. So, if you find yourself looking through a collection of 1950 pennies, it's definitely worth your time to check for signs of these rare characteristics. A high-quality penny or a coin with an error could make you a lot more than just pocket change. In conclusion, the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny is more than just a piece of history, it's a potential treasure waiting to be found. Whether it's the rarity of the coin, the high-quality minting, or a minting error that sets it apart, this penny could be worth a small fortune if you're lucky enough to have one in your collection. If you're out searching for coins or going through your old pennies, remember that the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny could be a valuable find. So, if you've come across a 1950 penny in your collection or in your spare change, don't just brush it off. It might be worth far more than you ever imagined. It could very well be the $48,500 treasure you've been looking for. Thanks for watching, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more exciting coin discoveries. Happy collecting!